What's good, Raider Nation? It's your boy, Mikey Raider. Felt like giving you my thoughts on the XFL debut this past weekend on Saturday and Sunday and let you know what I thought from a pro football fanatic. A great love of football I've always had since my childhood. And I went to the first XFL games in LA they were called the Extreme. I went to the championship game of the Extreme in LA. I bought a jersey. I still have it somewhere boxed up. So I'm a fan of the original XFL, as Vince McMahon and the WWF at the time tried to make it known. So this is actually the third iteration of the XFL. They did it in 2001, I believe it was, the first time. Then they did it again in 2020. And now in 2023, albeit with another wrestler taking over with Danae Garcia, his wife, The Rock, and they are the owners of the XFL. So I don't need to give you the history. You can go online for that. I'm just going to give it to you from my perspective. I'm a lifelong Raider fan. I'm a pro football fan. I love football. I love the legacies of many teams and players. But I'm a Raider till I die. And unfortunately, I wanted to root for an XFL team, but there was no LA local teams this time. And there is a Vegas Vipers team, and I was thinking about rooting for them. I just didn't know who to root for. It was kind of weird. So I told myself I'm gonna go out on a limb and pick a team, and then I picked the Vipers just because, the Vegas Raiders, but they didn't win. But I'm going to hold judgment. I'm going to hold judgment a few more weeks until I pick a team. It's not going to be based on their winning. It's going to be based off of their culture, their fan base, and whatever. But I liked what I saw out of this reiteration of the XFL. They had a couple of games on Saturday. They had a couple on Sunday. And now in 4 days on Thursday night, they're going to have a few games, which is cool. It feeds my football addiction, and I'm kind of proud of that. It's on ABC, ESPN, and FX, and I don't know the other network. It might be Fox, but it's FX for sure. ESPN and ABC. Let's get into the quality of talent. There's a lot of former Raiders that we'll talk about, a lot of former NFL players on this team, and a lot of players that played in the USFL that is also coming back this year in about a month or two. They're actually going to have their USFL draft tomorrow from college before the actual NFL draft in college. So players that are on the bubble to even be drafted in the NFL, they might be undrafted. They have the possibility of being drafted to the USFL. That's a whole trivia puzzle for another day. But the XFL had some good players, man. Some good quarterbacks. I can't remember all the teams' names. We don't need to go into that. You guys can look that all up. But we have some new rules in this XFL. And there was a team version. Oh, that's the team I was rooting for, because I thought it was the Rock's team, the Brahmas. The San Antonio Brahmas, because they call Rock the Brahma Bull. But they were ahead by 15 or 12 points with a minute and a half left versus the St. Louis Battlehawks. And because of the rules and the stuff they're trying in the XFL, within a minute and a half, even being down by 12 points, the St. Louis Battlehawks were able to score 15 points to win the game in a minute in 40 seconds. So that was kind of exciting. Normally when, a team's down by 12 points, or even 14 for that matter, they don't have a chance to come back if even they score once or twice in the final minutes. So it's pretty interesting. And then they got these 1-point plays after you score a touchdown. There's no kicks. There's no PATs. There's a 1 point from the 2-yard line, a 2-point play from the 4. Then I think from the 10 is a 3-point play. And a lot happened. It was kind of interesting. I kind of enjoyed that. They also got kickoff returns. They're trying to have kickoffs. The punter cannot kick the ball out of bounds anytime. If it does, automatically it starts from the 35. So they want the punters to kick it in bounds, but then they have the line in front of the punt returner. They wait till the punt returner catches it before any of them can move, but they're all in a straight line instead of, coming up from the back and then, blocking people left and right. So they're trying to bring back punt returns and kickoff returns and stuff like that. And that was kind of interesting. Marquette King is on one of the teams, the Renegades. He sucked. He started blaming the rules. He goes, oh yeah, I can't kick out of bounds, so that's why my punt sailed or whatever. And it just seemed like Marquette King was making excuses for his sucky play, blaming it on the rules, just like he did when he went to Denver, former Raider Marquette King. Can't remember everybody that was on the team, but I had a good time. I had a good time watching the XFL. The clock keeps running. And the only issues that I technically had with the XFL is if you want to be an extreme football league, why can't we hear the cursing and what the players and the coaches are saying on the sidelines? They have microphones on almost everybody and you could hear everything, but every time a curse word comes out, they block it or they blur it or they do a little thing with the noise where it cuts out, like it's on a 30-second delay or a minute delay or what, I don't know. But it bothers me. I mean, I want to hear that stuff. I want to hear the trash talking on the field by the players. That's what makes it extreme to me. But I understand that they're on ESPN, they're on ABC, they're on FX. Those are networks that the FCC, won't allow curse words. I wish they could have gotten on a channel like HBO or Showtime or one of these channels that might have wanted to bring in sports that are extreme. So, I mean, but that's, you want to get on ABC and ESPN, Disney, to say the least. But I understand it from that perspective. But I wanted more from the on the field, stuff. I wish they'd go into the locker rooms. That's kind of fun. The referees, you hear how they make a call. The referees seem stupid all the time. They're like, yeah, I forgot the guy's number. I think it's on 23. Don't say the number, the penalty. There was a couple of girl referees that did a really good job. And then there was a fight that broke out in one of the games, and the girl referee got in the middle of it where a guy sucker punched him in the middle. Again, if you want all the official records and going into more details, maybe I'll do that on a next review. This is just my initial thoughts, man. And I want to be honest with y'all, I had a good time. I like seeing some of the former NFL players. Some of the quarterbacks look pretty nice, like D'Eriq King, I think his name was. He's like a running, athletic, skilled quarterback that brought that team back to win the game. And the fan base in San Antonio and in Houston for the Roughnecks, they averaged about 15 or 16,000 in every arena. Then they had like 22 or 23,000 in San Antonio. That's a pretty good, if the tickets are $10, $15, $20, that's $1 million or $2 million each stadium at least. So that's a pretty good start. I don't know how the ratings were. I got to look that up. But the DC Defenders fan base, they're kind of like, let's call it the Buffalo Bills fan base. They were making these beer snakes because their team is called the Snakes. I forgot the name. No, that's not DC. I'm sorry. That's the other team. The Snakes. Forgive me. But long story short, I don't know. They were drinking beer and making a snake out of it. And then the referees took their beer snake for the Sea Dragons. Took away their dragon or their snake. Then they got so mad they started throwing lemons. They would get beers with lemons or oranges for their Heffenweiser or whatever. They were throwing it at the team. Then the XFL referee stopped the game. You know, they told everybody to calm down. And they're like, we want our snake. We want our dragon back. I don't think they ever gave it to him, but it was crazy to watch. They were acting like really drunk and like the Buffalo Bills fans, the Bills Mafia. It was kind of fun to see that. And, you know, for an XFL team. So I had a good time. I'm looking forward to the Thursday game. You know, tuning it on Thursday night. We got a couple of undefeated teams going against each other next week as well. That looked pretty good. There wasn't a lot of offense. I mean, there was a lot more offense than defense, and that's to be expected, except by a couple of teams. But one thing that also really scares me about the XFL, just like the NFL, is they were talking a lot about the gambling aspects of the XFL. They were on camera on ESPN, ABC, they were saying, oh, the overs, the unders, you can bet this, you can make this amount of money, these are the odds. You know, they're telling kids to do all that gambling stuff, you know, like, well, let's say 18-year-olds are over, you know. If you have a gambling problem, find a resource to help you out. But they were telling all that live, and you know that somebody, the big wigs, the people with money are gambling in the XFL. And people think you can't rig a game. Like Pat McAfee constantly says, you can't rig a game. There's too many people would have to be in on it, where, you know, too many people would have to talk. Well, Pat McAfee, I don't mean to be a jerk or an idiot, but the military does it. Everybody needs to know one thing, and that's it. They don't know that they're gambling. They don't know that they're cheating. They're told to do one thing. It's departmentalization, okay? And you only need two people, maybe even one referee, or one person in New York, or one bigwig that has the power to control a game. A referee on the field, a referee in the stands to record certain plays, to change or the direction or put a penalty on a certain play. You only need one or two people in general. That's it. Okay? Yes, they probably try to rig a game, and then somehow the other team, even though the one referee or the officials in New York, they tried to make a team win the game or score more points or whatever, it just didn't happen because they weren't able to get all that momentum, you know, to make all those calls. But long story short, you don't need 1 million people to rig a game. Okay, even a player on their own can do it without even knowledge of the NFL or the referees. Where even if a player knows, you know, he puts a lot of money on their team or another team, and he's like, well, you know, I might throw a little interception here. I might throw a little this, that. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. They'll just think, oh, that was an interception. And then, you know, maybe him or his family members or somebody's, you know, bet on that game and made money. Again, I don't think you can gamble if you're in the NFL or XFL, but they're using gambling as a big thing to sell them on the XFL. And it's a new generation we're entering in with gambling, with the NFL, with XFL. Long story short, guys, I had a good time. I enjoyed watching the XFL. I'm looking forward to it. It was pretty good gameplay. There were some big hits. And it was enjoyable to watch. The fan base, some of them were really cool and fun. And yeah, I enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys thought down below. And let's check out this week's games. And I'll come to you with some statistics, my favorite players, my official favorite team, probably next week around this time. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I wanted to get you guys a video today. I might have another video that comes out later today talking about Josh Jacobs. Thank you guys for subscribing to the channel. I do have memberships available. If you consider becoming a member, support me because I need support. I'm trying to make this my job. This is all I can do. And all I can do right now with health issues and everything I'm going through is talk to you guys. And I hope you enjoy it. And I love you guys. That being said, have a wonderful day. I enjoyed the XFL. Let me know what you thought.